Yes, people, what's going on? It has been a while, it has been a minute, but you know what? Back again, alright? Obviously, you gotta take your time doing these things. However, what I want you to do right now, if you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification, yeah? Because you never know the video you suggest, that could be next. Make sure you hit the like as well. And also share this video as well. Now, as you're probably aware, you probably saw the first one. I reacted to the Journey of an African Colony, part 1. So this one is part 2. And just to clarify as well, I did see the elephant. And it actually is, like I said, it's opposite Elephant Castle train station. But basically, long story short, I think the place is called Elephant Square. It's on top of that. So that's very, very interesting. You know. Anyway, let's get into part 2. By the way, follow the Alkebulantrust on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff there. I know it's been a long time since posting on Instagram, but I will get back on it. You know, listen, I need a team in it, so in fact, let me not talk too much right now. Let's get into the video. It's about Journey of an African Colony, part 2 or episode 2. Dividing up the continent. So you already know this is going to be interesting. So let's go.
Whatever the British had done in order to capture Lagos and to sign the hundreds of treaties to hold some of the towns and settlements in the southern territories under the tight command of the Royal Niger Company rule, nothing could prepare the African continent and the Nigeria to be for the sometimes bloody race between the British Empire and other European powers for their part of Africa. Making Nigeria was being shaped by the meetings in Europe to divide up the continent, and Britain was in the lead.
Boy, I don't have to say. I'm gonna try not to pause it too often as well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, the reaction video and all that stuff there, copyright things and all that there. But yeah, what else supporting? Watch it on Netflix. Get me. The link is in the description box below, by the way. All right. The making of Nigeria. That scene was nice, though.
For creating empire was Christianity, commerce, and civilization. But in act,
come on, man, really? Anyway, let's go. Obviously, I'm not saying that he's chatting rubbish because he's obviously talking the truth, but it's just the way that the British, do you know what I mean? The way that they went about their thing to justify doing whatever. It reminds me of an episode of Power Book 2. What episode? I think it was season 2, episode 3. I believe it was the episode, or maybe episode 2. I can't remember. But they mentioned something, and they, interestingly enough, they actually mentioned something to do with slavery as well, which was very, very interesting. Like they were in a lecture, they mentioned something. But yeah, listen, I'm due to rewatch Power Book. I'm due to rewatch the whole of Power 1. Yeah, the whole original series, then Power Book 2, then Power Book 3. I'm due to rewatch everything. Like, get me, but let's go.
Sure fact. It was trade and the extraction of wealth. And that's why the method of possessing the colony...
Hold up, before I get into that, I still said, should I do a review on that? And I thought, nah, you know what? Let me keep this channel strictly for, you know, Africa and the Caribbean and diaspora related. Obviously, yes, I know 50 Cent is considered a black person, and he has loads of TV shows that, you know, what's the word? Gives black people work, basically. Get me, helping the young black people like Mikey Rainey Jr. I forgot the other guy's name that plays the younger version of Kanan. You see what I mean? And he's got Little Meech, who's playing his dad in BMF. So, do you know what I mean? So that's very interesting. However, get me, let me just stick to these type of things here. If anything, go to the community tab on the channel, and you'll see some posts sort of related, but not too much. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Was always from the coast to the inland. That's why the taking of the West African territory in the Niger area started with Lagos.
I'm an urban historian and a speculative cartographer. What this means is that in thinking about the history of cities, I really think about the role that maps and spatial history, so specifically maps and map making, the role that they play in understanding the history of a place and the people who live there. One of the things I do in this kind of map making is that with ArcGIS, you can actually take historical maps and contemporary maps of cities and do what we call georeferencing, which is basically just, assigning spatial data to old maps. So for instance, if something has always been there, that can be one reference point that through time. And what we can do is we can layer these maps and we can actually compare and contrast, look through them, and with the spyglass application, we can actually peer through the present into the past to really think about the old parts of the city.
Wow. I didn't know things like that existed.
This spatial history technique was essential to understand the truth about the Lagos attack and the beginning of empire in the Nigeria to be. In the official report of the events that led to the reduction of Lagos in 1851, Captain Jones's letter to Commodore Bruce of the Royal Navy, reporting what had happened on December 29, 1851, read as follows. Sir, the island of Lagos and its dependencies are prostrate before us, ours by the right of conquest, to deal with as might be most expedient. Everyone.
Hold up. I know I'm saying I'm not going to continue to pause it, but however, it's just that with the prostrating and all that stuff there, it kind of reminds me of there's this church that I regularly go to. Well, I say I regularly go to, but it's been essentially like it's long to explain. But yeah, they have the older church in that same building, and before going to that church, basically, because I got to the other timing, which funny enough looks like I won't be going today, the time that I recorded this. But anyway. Listen, yeah, so, because I recorded this on a Sunday and, get me. But yeah, so long story short, like, I would regularly, this is even before I went, you know what I mean? Like, this is ages ago. Like, I see them prostrating to elders in the community, in the church or whatever. Like, I see it, I'm like, obviously, you'd think, oh, you're supposed to be Nigerian, you should know these things, blah, blah, blah. Like, I grew up in a different era, I don't know how to explain it. Even to me, it just seems a bit weird. You know what I mean? Like, would I want people prostrating and bowing down towards me? Like, get up, man. Get me. We are level, like, even if you are younger than me, anyway, let's not get into this. But, it just seems a bit, I think it's unnecessary. Obviously, it's a display of that person being submissive to the other person and having respect. I get that. But sometimes, come on, man. Like, rise up. Especially if you're doing it on the... Anyway, never mind. But then I'm not against it if... This is going to sound very misogynistic, but it's not misogyny, alright? Because misogyny means hate for women, but it's not that. It's the what's the word? That understanding what it means. So for example, when someone prostrates, that's obviously bowing down, right? So obviously, if a woman was to do it to a man, especially if it's their man, their husband, do you know what I mean, their boyfriend, then by all means do it. Do you see what I'm saying? By all means. However, if a child is doing it to No, if a woman is doing it to a man that's not her husband, allow yourself. You see what I'm saying? Allow yourself. It's not your husband or your actual father or your father-in-law. Allow yourself. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
Had fled. It was more a destruction, not a reduction. To such reports, seek to
Actually, no.
sanitize.
I keep pausing in it. Listen, allow me. But leave your comment in the section below. I want to know what your thoughts are on, you know, people that bow down, that prostrate, especially if you are, you know, from a background. Because I know, listen, there's different cultures, different tribes, whatever, that do similar things in it. So it's just, I'm just wondering, where does it come from? Is it really part of culture, or is it because of this? Like, for example, the fact that it says, you know what? Give me a second. You see what's happened here? I made a massive mistake here. Hang on. A massive mistake. This is what happens when you pause it way too many times. But it's all good. We get back to it. There you go. See? Without the adverts popping up. Alright, so let's go. So basically, the island of Lagos and its dependencies are prostrate before us. Ours the right of conquest to deal with as a might to the most expedient. Everyone had fled. I don't even know what I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna lie. I just reread that and I'm like, what the hell does that mean? They're speaking in parables, blood. Nah, like, no, what does that mean? Leave your answer in the comment section below. What do you think that means? I understand that the first half, kind of, where they mention the island of Lagos and its dependencies. So obviously the people of the island are prostrate before us, so they're bowing down. Now, is that a request for them to do that, or are they doing that out of their own will? You see what I'm saying? Not a request, like, are they demanding they do it, or is that a thing where the people are literally by default doing that? Like, do you see what I mean? Because they see a display of authority, so they're like, you see what I mean? Or is it out of fear as well? Because fear could also add towards authority as well. There's a level of it, I don't know how to explain it, but there's a level of fear and control that has a type of energy where it's attached to authority, but there's another where there's a fear where it's attached to submissiveness as well, if that makes sense. It's hard to really explain, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, I don't have to tell you.
Reports seek to sanitize our 1851 history.
The reduction of Lagos is actually a really interesting case because it's actually been quite controversial in ways that people have seen it. Earlier historians have talked about how, from the British side, how it was really a benevolent act to sort of rescue us and liberate us from, you know, slavery, enslavement, things like that. But then later, Nigerian historians, when we began to write sort of academic histories, really pushed back on this narrative that actually England had a lot to gain from actually taking over Lagos, because they know that whoever controls Lagos controls not only the lagoon routes, but also the sea routes. And so, which is why you see after the British come in and they reinstall Akitoye, you then see that people come flooding from all over, not just that part of the Bight of Benin, but all over West Africa, from Freetown, from Abeokuta, from Badagry. Everyone wants to be in Lagos because this is not only a commercial hub, but also geographically the center of so much that is possible in West Africa. So really, there's really a lot at stake in who controlled the city and the island.
That's interesting.
Taking the kingdom of Lagos for the British Crown was by no means straightforward. At the failed attack of the 25th of November 1851, the Africans had inflicted injury and loss of pride on their invaders. The British Navy, long known as the world's naval superpower, deemed their attack a failure and retreated to return only 1 month later with increased fire.
You see? Listen. This is more reasons to understand and believe that we fought back, bruv. How you mean with this acceptance-ish? Do you know what I mean? How? It don't make no sense. Naturally, we're going to fight back. Do you see what I'm saying? And naturally, we're going to win some battles. Naturally. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's keep it moving.
And so the two African kings were at war, nephew and uncle.
Damn.
King Kosoko and King Akitoye. The war set the context for the British invasion that was soon to come. Akitoye was desperate to regain power after 10 years of being forced out of power by his nephew, King Kosoko. Akitoye teamed up with the British and assisted the invasion of his own kingdom. Kosoko obviously was up to the task of the defense. And as part of the defense that Kosoko put up for defending the kingdom, there were 60 cannons very similar to the one I'm standing in front of here now. And these 60 cannons lined up the shoreline.
Hold up. Obviously, I know I said I don't want to continue to pause. But like, it's just got me really thinking. Obviously, if your nephew and uncle are fighting, whatever, you know, family conflict does happen from time to time. We can't even dispute that. You know what I mean? Now, the thing in documentaries, right? I don't care who you are, yeah. And I mean this as no disrespect to anyone. If you're good at your craft, you're good at your craft, innit? But my thing is, if you're going to be talking about these type of things, at least, especially because you want things to be as accurate as possible. So, and obviously, when it comes to most African stories, wherever, it's by oral tradition, innit? You know what I mean? Like, they're not, like, you know what I mean? Some are written down in other ways, or some are crafted in other ways, which unfortunately in most cases, guess what's happened? Get me? The British and other invaders have flipping invaded and taken, like, stolen the artifacts. Do you see what I mean? Stolen history. Like, and then putting up display in their museums, and it's free for some people to go to, or free to go. Well, as far as I'm aware, London Museum is free, but when it comes to buying other stuff, like you know what I mean, with replicas or small replicas or whatever, they're making a hell of a lot of money. And it's a tourist attraction as well. So it's just mad, like. And if you try to take your stuff back to where it belongs, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're either gonna go jail, or they're ready to kill you, bruv. Do you see what I'm saying? It don't make no sense, blood. It don't make no sense. Like, but anyway, I was gonna say, before we proceed, it would be interesting if they actually got the like any living descendants that know of the story and know what they have heard. Do you know what I mean? Because that way we get a proper insight. Otherwise, it just seems like hearsay. And I don't really like hearsay. I like, especially when it comes to history, I want hardcore evidence. You know what I mean? So we know what happened. So we know if we don't want that to happen again, we got to find a way to resolve that situation. Like, not having conflict with your family, resolving that in private, not letting outsiders trying to resolve the situation. You got to come together, get me, and resolve it. Do you know what I mean? Without any violence, or without any loss of life. But let's go.
Protect the kingdom from what was clearly going to be the Royal Navy attack. There were 100 dugout canoes with well-armed men, 5,000 musketeers placed in strategic places in the bush. You can imagine the awesome sight of the 20-ship armada of the British Royal Navy approaching the Lagos shoreline. And so, on the 24th of December 1851, the first attack came.
The majority of the people had followed Kosoko to exile, leaving the place almost a desolate and deserted place. After clearing the ground for Akitoye, the Gaisel was almost in derelict status at the time.
Yeah, because it was bombed.
Yes. Because the place was subjected to attack.
That's the king's house, the king's
Yes.
palace.
But actually, it was quite tragic for the city. And the human toll and the physical toll on the infrastructure and the population was really dramatic and intense. So we know that there are estimates of about 22,000 people. We've heard that nearly 90% of them were gone.
Damn.
In actual fact, the invasion must have caused huge loss on both sides,
True.
even if the records don't show it.
You
Because
see?
the British government literally apologized. I have to acquaint you that Her Majesty's government is of the opinion that you were not born out of either by the circumstances of the case or by your instructions from Her Majesty's government in directing that Her Majesty's naval forces should land and attack Lagos. And Her Majesty's government greatly regrets the loss of life, which has been the consequence of that attack.
I'm not being funny, yeah, but fuck that apology, bruv. I wasn't supposed to swear on it because I don't know if that affects monetization and them type of things there. But listen, that's not gonna, like, I genuinely hate, yeah, when people wanna say they're sorry or they, like, obviously I understand some people genuinely mean it, right? But if you genuinely mean it, because you will find a way to rectify that problem, and do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain, but actions speak louder. It speaks a lot louder. Sorry. Okay, if you were sorry, then let's keep it 100. Yeah. Nigeria technically wouldn't flipping exist. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that. Yeah, as we're probably gonna learn throughout these docu-series there, because, like, come on now. Like, and that's like only 1852. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're aware of the invasion. What's that movie called? An Invasion 1897. Invasion 1897, where the British come to flipping the Benin Kingdom, yeah, lost the battle, like they lost, yeah, and then they come back, and then unfortunately they won the battle. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously to the artifacts, and if you watch the movie, it's got what's that brother's name again? I forgot his name, but he used to be in EastEnders. I didn't even know. I should have known by his name, but like I'm pretty sure he's anyway, it doesn't matter right now. But I definitely 100% know that he's Chucky Venn, that's his name, Chucky Venn. Is it Chucky Venn? Yeah. And it's got another guy that was in EastEnders. I think Patrick. Yeah. No, was it him? I'm pretty sure it was him. The guy that plays Patrick. That's how you know he's a great actor, because that's all I know him as, Patrick. But let's keep it moving though, yeah, like, apology. Anyway. Because think about it, no, let's deep it. Think about it. If they were genuinely sorry, like, colonialism would not even exist anymore, bruv. That's how sorry you would be. Like, you would make sure. Anyway, let me not. But you can see how irate I am, innit?
December 27th, 1851. It was late in the afternoon when the final cannon shots were fired on this very location, and the palace of the king was finally destroyed.
Damn.
With the king absent, the British invaders were able to take
Irony, Oba of Lagos, Oba of Benin. No,
and by taking his throne,
you get
the
it
first
afterwards.
possession in this part of the country then became the Lagos colony. And that event led to the creation of the colony of Nigeria. The act of taking the king's throne is a pattern that they would perfect
Rob, reign,
in other parts of the country
and
to
rule.
create the Nigerian colony. So after 10 years of virtual rule through a series of consuls,
You see that? See, hear that? Hold up. You hear that? Hear that? Hear that? Hear that? We're gonna have to pull that up. Hold up. Rule, reign, and what was the other one? No, Rob, reign, and rule. And then he mentioned about virtual. It's the same shit. It's the same thing they're doing now. You know, like, I'm sure you must understand. Yeah, it's the same thing that is going on. Yeah, even Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, like, he even mentioned about neo-colonialism. Like, listen to his speeches. Like, he has mentioned it before. Yeah, and this was decades ago, bruv. Yeah, like, he's mentioned about neo-colonialism. He's not dumb. Do you know? We will touch on. We will do another video on peace situation another time. Yeah, so make sure you're subscribed, innit? But listen, virtual rule through councils, huh? Are you telling me this doesn't exist right now? Obviously, I want to speak the right things into existence, but naturally, what's gonna happen is, we're gonna heal up naturally, because that's what it's like. It's like the human body, right? What happens is, if you cut it, right, or let's say you accidentally get cut, because sometimes accidents happen, right? Like genuine accidents. Yeah, let's say you get a cut on your leg from falling over, or a cut on your leg from falling over, or a cut on your hand, or whatever, wherever. From falling down, I don't know, or you just play fighting and then you cut yourself or whatever. What happens is, do you see what I mean? It heals up. Now, I'm going to give you another great example. I have a spot right. Oh, right, it's gone. No, it's not gone. It's there somewhere. But before, like, it was massive. Not massive, but like, it was evident. I could feel it. But now I can't even really feel it, really. I think it was, I don't even know where it was. Where was it? It was there somewhere. And I was like, this is mad. The man's just got to roll with it. Even this, there was a spot here, for some reason. No, I know why, because this is why I need to eat clean. I need to eat food that is naturally designed for me. But we'll get into another video about that. But anyway, so long story short, over time, naturally it heals up. You see what I mean? Especially if you treat it right. Do you know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to make. Naturally, we gonna heal up and things gonna get back to normal, back to the way they're supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? Let's go.
Nigeria. The act of taking the king's throne is a pattern that they would perfect in other parts of the country to create the Nigerian colony. So after 10 years of virtual rule through a series of consuls, ostensibly here for trade, the decision was taken to formally take possession of Lagos and there create the Crown Colony of Lagos in 1861. From late July of 1861, the British consul and the Royal Navy encouraged, warned, threatened, and finally forced King Dusmu to sign a treaty that would formally cede possession of the entire territory of Lagos. The kingdom was to become part of the British Empire.
Damn. And you know what?
On the
Yeah.
6th of August,
What? No.
1861, Dusmu reluctantly got on board HMS Prometheus, moored along the shores here, and signed the treaty that would start a series of events that would lead to the creation of Nigeria.
Alright, so basically, you see the Belgian conference there? There is this woman. I'm going to put her name up and her image, yeah, so I can get her name correct. I don't want to mispronounce, and I don't want to come off this thing right now and try to search and all that stuff there, because it's just long. But yeah, you'll see it. It's going to be there. Yeah, it's just one of those things there, like, long story short, where she's mentioned it before. You know what I mean? Like, she's mentioned it before, but she was referencing in more to do with France, I believe. Was it France? I can't even remember. I don't want to get it wrong. but she was part of the so like an ambassador, US ambassador or something like that. I can't remember how it goes, but I remember she got fired for speaking truth in it. Basically, that's in a nutshell. But let's keep moving.
So many of the great explorers of the 1800s were essentially said to be after geographic expeditions, looking for the sources of many of the great rivers in Africa: Congo, the Nile, the Niger, the Limpopo. But in actual fact, they were looking for navigable ways into the interior of Africa. One of them that is well known is Dr. Livingstone. He died in Congo without finding the source of the Great Congo River. His work was probably finished back.
Is he related to Ken Livingstone? When I do the edits, I'll find out.
And Henry Stanley, a flamboyant man who said he had met him several times, and the important phrase, Dr. Livingstone, I presume. The importance of this to our journey is that Congo was then seized by King Leopold in 1876. That act of seizure by a small country who wasn't even a great power of the time led the great powers to think, hang on, this guy could go for more African territory. And that gave birth to the conference that is now known as the Berlin Conference, but at that time it was called the African Conference, except there were no Africans at the conference. The great powers met and they divided up the territory into parcels of land that they then presumed to own. The only thing was that they said each power must be able to exercise effective control, and where one power had effective control, the other power would have to yield possession to that country. And that's what was called the scramble to establish effective occupation. It was so bad that Lord Salisbury said, "We have been engaged in drawing lines upon maps where no white man's foot has ever trod. We have been giving away mountains and rivers and lakes to each other, only hindered by the small impediment that we never knew where the mountains, rivers, or lakes were." After the Berlin Conference in 1898, the British government established the Niger Committee, also known as the Selborne Committee, led by the Under Secretary of State, Lord Selborne. The committee's mission was to determine the future of the territory. Ultimately, they resolved to merge the occupied territories into one country, to keep the French out and to keep any other great powers out of the territory. So let's quickly shatter a myth right here now. The idea that Nigeria was somehow made by Lord Frederick Lugard as a father of amalgamation, and that he is the person who set the course of this country is not correct. The members of this committee were the thinkers who brought about the territory that is now known as Nigeria.
Okay, fair
The
enough.
members were Sir Walter Egerton, Governor of Lagos at the time; Sir Ralph Moore, the High Commissioner of the newly proclaimed Southern Protectorate; Reginald Antrobus, the Under Secretary in the Colonial Office, and probably the real thinker behind the idea of one Nigeria; and Sir George Goldie, the maverick creator of the Royal Niger Company, whose administration of parts of the territory on behalf of the British government created the Southern Protectorate. So just how was this effective occupation established? They couldn't be all over Africa at the right time at the same time. So a system of companies was developed. A lot of the Liverpool trading companies had been competing in Africa anyway, and they'd been competing in Nigeria already. One person's idea to amalgamate a lot of these companies, idea floated by George Topman Goldie, was to create what was called the Central Africa Trading Company to reduce the competition. But in order to exploit the opportunity properly, he needed to have some sort of monopoly. He approached the British government, who was aware of the need for effective occupation, and gave a charter over much of what was to become Nigeria. That charter company grew to become the Royal Niger Company.
This is intense, bro.
Tubman's company administration was effectively an agent to British colonialism. The company administered the land and extracted profit for itself and paid for the charter. And this system continued well into the end of the century. So,
continuing now,
the debate and the scramble were going on, Britain was able to establish effective occupation through the company.
And that's what I mean, like, obviously that they may talk about it, I have no idea, but like, I swear this is what's going on now, like, they're able to have virtual rule via putting governments in place. Do you see what I mean? Obviously they give this false sense of you can vote, but essentially they're puppets. Cause look at Buhari, bruv. Man, like, bro, if I even, once you do your real search on Buhari, yeah, you will think, yeah, he definitely is a puppet. Back in the 80s and even now, yeah? Bro, listen. I am so vexed right now. I'm just trying to stay calm. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of them ones where it's like, what can I do? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what the hell can I do? Like, yeah, I have sort of, in a way, created this idea of trying to rebuild the infrastructure within the African and Caribbean diaspora. You know, trying to rebuild up the mindset and stuff like that. That's one thing, but the more I'm learning, the more I'm like, yo, this is going to take centuries. Like, literally. Because, I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. But like I said, everything's going to heal up in its own time anyway. Just like the human body, innit? You know what I mean? But let's keep it moving.
The Lagos colony and its growing protectorate was effective in bringing the kingdoms of what was described as Yoruba land under British trade influence and therefore control. A succession of Lagos governors increased British territory. Governor Alfred Maloney, followed by Governor Denton, established a military garrison at Ibadan beyond the colony. But it was Governor Sir Gilbert Carter who defined the protectorate of the colony into a large expanse covering the Yoruba-speaking country. In May 1892, a punitive force fought the formidable Ijebu from the ports of Epe to Ijebu. From 1893 then on, Carter's colony was unstoppable. He marched to Abeokuta, obtained a treaty with his leadership, and then went on to the north, Oyo, where he hurriedly arranged a treaty and executed one with the still respected and powerful Alaafin. Carter went on.
I'm not being funny, but look how small these, like, Britain is, Belgium, Spain, France. Look how small they are. Look how small those countries are. How the fuck did they manage this level of colonialism? How? Like, to me, things, obviously, yes, there's explanation in this video and I get it, on this documentary or docu-series, and I get it. But it's like, the more I look at it, it's like, how? Like, big up King Disumu, like, big him up, big up their family lineage. Get me, I'm not going to say too much, but get me. But for me, I'm like, yo, it's like, and it's all good me saying this now, obviously, but like, if it was me that was on the throne, yeah, do you think I'm giving up the place, the land? Obviously, yeah, they may threaten by saying, I will kill more of your people, blah, blah, blah. Nah, you want my land? The only way you're going to get it is through me. Like, you're going to have to kill me. Over my, like, no, when they, not that saying over my dead body. That will have to be it, literally. And then even then, like, there's someone else that's going to be there to be able to take over and have the same mentality. Do you see what I'm saying? So the war and the battle, whatever, will continue. And I get the it's an odd one, obviously, because yeah, they could, you know, still try and violate not just the person, the king or whatever, but they violate the people. So it's a thing where if you know what they want, the land and the people, then obviously their priority is what you want, the land and the people. But only way to do that, the more people you kill, the more it's going to be a disadvantage. It's not going to be helpful to you anyway. So you might as well just, like, you see what I mean? Once you understand what they really want, then it's easy for you not to be manipulated. Once you don't know what they want, then, and they conceal their intentions. Anyway, let's not even get to that.
To Bomashaw and then to Ilorin, effectively breaking up internal hostility by establishing British control. The entire West was under the control of the Lagos colony and its protectorate. The consolidation of British interests had been going on in the east of the Niger since at least 1879. The main traders holding dubious treaties were Alexander Miller Brothers and Co. of Glasgow, James Pinnock and Co. of Liverpool, West Africa Company in Manchester, and the Central Trading Company of London. These all came together to form Goldie's Royal Niger Company. Up until 1891, when Sir Major Claude MacDonald was appointed governor of the Protectorate, separate from the Royal Niger Company, the British consulate...
I'm sorry, I know I need to stop pausing it here, but I'm just looking at this guy's face and his beard. It just makes me want to get the scissors and just snip off his flipping beard, bro. Like, it just looks annoying. I promise you it looks annoying. And I know some people be like, well, you look annoying. Cool, whatever. But no, for real, he looks annoying, bruv. Like, anyway, I just want to snip off that beard, bruv. Like, lie yourself. Anyway, let's keep moving.
Still did not have an effective government in the oil rivers of the Nigeria to be. The authority and transformation of the Oil Rivers Protectorate into the Niger Coast Protectorate was a perfect springboard to capture the eastern area of the Nigeria to be. Bonny Island, located at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, facing the Bight of Guinea, near the area that would later be named Port Harcourt, had already become a successful trading post for the British. The role of Consul John Beecroft in changing the trajectory of Bonny Island and in the making of Nigeria must not be forgotten. He had been involved in the British bombardment of Lagos in 1851 and was a signatory to the treaty between Great Britain and Lagos in 1852. From the time of his appointment as consul of the Bights of Benin and Biafra, he quickly became both notorious and infamous.
It just looks evil.
Internal struggles within Bonny Island made it easy for him to engineer the takeover of the island and make it the first of the Delta communities to become a British asset.
Well, my people, them Delta Igbo, you know. You hear me?
It was on this island of Bonny that Mbanasu, later to be known as Jobu Juboha or Jaja, a former slave working for the Ana people traders with other British companies, would finally gain prominence. The nickname Jaja was given to him by the British traders who would come to know him very well. During the power struggle in Bonny in 1870, this Kenu boy, Jaja, bought the Jumbo trading house and broke away to make a new settlement that was named Opobo. Opobo was closer to the commercial markets, and Jaja exercised control with the interior country, making the Europeans more and more dependent on his territory.
Do you know the one thing and the one theme about life, and this is what I'm really deep in? Yeah, remember earlier I was talking about the show Power. That's practically it. That is practically it. The theme of life is power. How you get power and how you maintain power is up to you based on the information you have at that time. There's morals, there's ethics you can abide by based upon how you're raised and the information you have, and there's some that go against it even despite, you know what I mean? Like, so, and then there's some that know you want power in certain things and in certain places, and if they got certain power and influence, they're able to put you in a position of power to make you feel powerful so they can actually instead control and manipulate you. What can I say? You know what I'm saying? That's like, yeah, anyway, let's keep it moving.
Jaja broke the Bonny trade dominance with British help. Jaja's migration from Bonny to the new Opobo made him the self-proclaimed king of the island. His treaty with the company was to place his territory under the protection of the British. Jaja was quite cooperative with the British, even against his own fellow natives, at one time sending troops to assist the British in subduing the Ashanti in the War of 1875. Control of the trade meant he shrewdly controlled the prices. To the European companies, this was the
although technically that's a smart move, controlling the prices. See?
But for the British,
you see? Like let's wheel that up. Let's wheel that up. Let's pull that back up. Did you hear what was said? If you didn't, I apologize because I probably talked over. So I'm gonna rewind it and, you know what I mean?
The new Opobo made him the self-proclaimed king of the island. His treaty with the company was to place his territory under the protection of the British. Jaja was quite cooperative with the British, even against his own fellow natives, at one time sending troops to assist the British in subduing the Ashanti in the War of 1875. Control of the trade meant he shrewdly controlled the prices. To the European companies, this was the perfect excuse to get rid of them. They wanted control back. But for the British, the Berlin Conference had given them the right, they thought, the perceived right, to take direct control of the territory, regardless of what their old ally, King Jaja, wanted. Consul H. Johnson got what he thought was the British Home Government's permission to deport and depose the king. Johnson invited Jaja for a meeting on board the HMS Goshawk. Naturally suspicious, Jaja asked for guarantees of his safety and his liberty. Johnson said, "You'll be free to go once you've heard the message from the British government." Johnson lied. Johnson wrote to Jaja, "If you attend tomorrow, I pledge you my word, you will be free to come and go. But if you do not attend, I shall conclude that you be guilty of the charges brought against you and shall immediately proceed to carry out your punishment."
Manipulation, you see it?
Jaja was arrested as soon as he arrived and taken to Accra, where at a sham, he was found guilty of breaking the treaty. From there, he was deported to the West Indies. He died attempting to return to his homeland. Freedom fighter or shrewd man of commerce? You decide. He protected his interests and his people to very well.
Kind of bittersweet. Benin Kingdom, my people there. From my dad's side, feel me?
As early as 1892, Obanwe had signed a treaty with the British consuls. British consul Galloway had entered a treaty of protection. To the British, it meant that the Benin Kingdom was already a client. The understanding may not have been clear to everybody, but obviously that could have been what motivated Consul John Phillips when he decided in 1897 to embark on what is now called the Benin Expedition that led into 2 massacres.
See, what was I telling you about earlier? About the movie Invasion 1897, yeah? With Chucky Venn and the guy that plays Patrick from EastEnders. Funny enough, like I said, they both were in EastEnders. And yeah, I recommend you go watch that movie. In fact, what I'm gonna do, even though I've seen the movie over and over and over and over again, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, if there is a trailer on YouTube, then I'm gonna watch the trailer. In fact, I should find a trailer on a different source, whatever. But either way, if I find a trailer and I'm able to react to it, I will react to it. You know what I'm saying? Just to have it up there so people can know. You get me? But anyway, let's keep it moving. And you heard about the 2 casualties as well.
Obanwe had signed a treaty in 1892, which largely placed his sovereignty under British protectorate, meaning protected by the British against other European powers, and not, as was thought, protecting the Oba's kingdom. The Oba was essentially a client. He was a...
You see, this is one thing you need to understand. Everyone has their own self-interest at heart. So, people will lie to you, bruv. They will lie to you in your face. They will lie to you in your face. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is why you have to peep game and understand, okay, know what your interests are, know what your intentions are, and move accordingly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying don't work with people or whatnot. Still work with people. But at the end of the day, just know, get me, if you do find out they lie to you, you know how to move. Do you see what I'm saying? Where you won't be shocked. You'll be like, alright, cool, I saw it coming, and you're already 9 steps ahead anyway. Get me? That's how you gotta move. You have to move 9 steps ahead, because people will lie to you and kind of, like, in a way, jeopardize your life or your career. But the best thing about life is, regardless of all that, they're always indirectly put you in a position on your path that you're heading towards anyway, to your true destination. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're always going to win. But let's kind of pull this up for a second. Get me?
1897 to embark on what is now called the Benin Expedition that led into 2 massacres. The Oba of Obanwe had signed the treaty in 1892, which largely placed his sovereignty under British protectorate, meaning protected by the British against other European powers, and not, as was thought, protecting the Oba's kingdom. The Oba was essentially a client. He was a dependent of the Queen of England.
Never be dependent on someone apart from God. That's it.
The order to the Consul General of the Niger Protectorate, John Phillips, to delay the expedition and the visit to the Benin Kingdom was not taken. On their way, the Phillips contingent was ambushed and shot at before they could reach for their weapons. Some were beheaded, several were just killed. Some British historians have described the attack of the 4th of January a Benin massacre. Only Captain Alan Voiceragan and District Commissioner Boat escaped.
4th of January, we celebrate.
But the revenge attack itself was the real massacre. A month later, 1,500 men were raised to deal a fatal blow on the Benin Kingdom. the city and the empire fell.
It fell, but it's still kind of there in a way. Like, do you know what I'm saying? You get me? You can't stop what's spiritual. Do you know what I mean? You can't stop what is spiritual. That's all I can say. But yeah, I have you know what I want to do? Yeah, I don't know if this is someone else's idea already, but if it is, good on you. I have this idea. Yeah, hear me out. We should celebrate every year of each, like find out the dates of the battles that we did win. Obviously, I understand, you know, the other battles that we may have lost, but it's also good to acknowledge the battles that the dates of the battles that we did win. Do you see what I mean? Like, because for them to wait a month to come back, do you know what I mean? After just being slaughtered, you get me? Because you have your right to defend what's yours. You have your right to defend your kingdom, bro. Like, it is what it is. It's the same thing with your home. You have your right to defend your home. Do you see what I mean? You have your right to defend yourself against someone, whether it's verbally or physically, and even emotionally. Do you see what I mean? You have your right. That's human right. But let's keep it moving.
On the 17th of February 1897, outright British rule was imposed. The Oba of Arawen was deposed and later sent to die in exile. So this second bloody expedition was the massacre, but in an act of double jeopardy. Over 4,000 artifacts of culture, adornment, worship, paraphernalia of office of the Benin were carted away, forcefully seized. These valuable artifacts are now to be found in museums in Britain, France, Germany, the United States of America.
And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put up this GIF.
The jeopardy of not only the loss of lives, but the loss of culture. You wonder what moral authority these museums have when they hunt down rope-climbing art thieves after a well-planned heist that ends in a speedy getaway with missing classics of Rembrandt, Picasso, or Da Vinci. This was olden-day identity theft. It still appears disproportionate and unjustifiable until this day. The only other authority that existed in the East was the Aruchukwu Oro, and what the British called the Long Truth. The situation where two authorities were competing, the British authority couldn't settle. They had to take the Aruchukwu. The area had been settled by the Ibibios in about 300 AD. The Igbo migrants arrived subsequently, and both were subdued at the Ibibio War that established the Aro state, covering Aruju, Eza, Benue, Ohabia, Idem, and Arumizo, well into the present-day Anambra state. This was the Aro state that the British met. In 1902, the decision was taken to attack Aro. A strong contingent of both Lagos and Northern forces, under the direction of Sir Ralph Moore, contributed to the so-called expedition. They marched in columns to Arachuku and overcame the resistance with brute force. And so the 1902 attack on the Aro was finally concluded. The counter-influence to the British in the entire area was defeated. In 1905, Onitsha itself faced a strong expedition in revenge for the loss of the British medical officer, Dr. Stewart. The occupation was completed in 1906, along with what was left of the East, Bali. The East was taken. Next, we see the bloody campaign across the north of the colony. We see the events that led to the joining up of the colony and protectorates by the British, amalgamation into one country.
Alright, so obviously that's the end of that episode. Obviously, make sure you stay tuned. First of all, thank you for watching this far. Hashtag in the comment section below, Alkebulan is great again. Get me, because we're going to make sure Alkebulan, as some may know, Alkebulan as Africa. But yeah, the motherland, Alkebulan, yes, will be great again. Get me? Because it's great for pre-colonialism. Yes, I understand there's some things that have gone in the past. But we have to realize that at the end of the day, we're better off. Like, it's so bittersweet, yeah, because I don't even want to talk about my personal life situation or whatever, but life does make you realize certain things that, you know what I mean? Life is bittersweet, you know what I mean? But, yeah, man, I don't even know what to say, man. Like, again, I'm just upset right now. I'm vexed. But I just don't know what to do to like resolve this problem, because there is a problem. But I guess once we go through the whole docu-series, probably I'll come up with an idea. But yeah, other than that, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. You might as well, because you made it this far anyway. And trust me, part 3 should be coming soon, God willing. Follow the Alkebulantrust on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all that stuff there. And yeah, let's go.